They are our future. They're our hope, the creators of tomorrow. What if we could help them go from dreamers to doers? Our students and children should be nurtured physically, mentally, and emotionally. And we can do this by giving them the gift of music. I began playing the cello at age 9 because I was the shy kid, but I still wanted to be involved and I loved to learn. The opportunity to learn a musical instrument was one I couldn't pass up, and it gave me the chance to express myself without words. Indeed, it was a creative outlet, but it also taught me structure, commitment, perseverance, and passion. Learning to play a musical instrument has benefits beyond building our character. It strengthens connections in the brain, enhances learning abilities for language, literacy, speech, memory, and math, and it amplifies our executive functioning. Today, we're going to discuss the functional, structural, and behavioral changes music has, and why we should encourage our young ones, kids, cousins, and siblings, to learn to play a musical instrument. Above all, music is everywhere on phones and radios, in restaurants, bars, and clubs, when we're studying or singing in the shower, and it all begins before we're even born. Remember this for later. Music activates so many regions in the brain that it looks like fireworks. In the womb, the low frequency pulse of our mother's heartbeat provides the fetus with their first rhythmic experience. According to the National Academy of Sciences of the USA, this likely establishes the neural basis for auditory entertainment. A mother's voice is one of the first acoustic stimuli we are exposed to before birth, providing us with the auditory nourishment necessary to process and store speech information. This is why research, such as a 2016 Stanford study, have shown fireworks in the brains of newborns when hearing their mother's voice. They're hearing music. They are born musical. Moreover, violist Molly Jebrian explains it best. As musicians, we subject our brains to a regime of training that is virtually unparalleled in its intensity and duration, not to mention the level of exquisite perfection we are expected to attain. Musicians spend hours a day practicing. It goes without saying that our brains undergo changes to meet the demands of playing an instrument. For most people, hearing doesn't trigger an association with movement, nor does moving cause them to hear something in their heads. But if a musician listens to a piece they know and play well, not only does their auditory cortex light up, but parts of the motor region devoted to the fingers used to play the piece. The opposite is also true. By fingering a pattern of music, the auditory cortex lights up as if the person were actually hearing it. In addition, the corpus callosum is the bridge between the left and right hemispheres of the brain, coordinating communication between the two. The left hemisphere is associated with analytical and logical thinking, while the right is associated with abstract and creative thinking. In musicians, the corpus callosum is larger by millimeters, which is significant in brain terms versus a non-musician. As you can see in these photos from a study called The Brain of Musicians, a Model for Functional and Structural Adaptation, the white rubber band looking thing in the middle of the brain is the corpus callosum. The top scan is a male non-musician. The bottom left, a male musician, and the bottom right is a female musician. Between the bottom musicians and the top non-musician, we can note that the corpus callosum is visibly larger in the musicians. Stronger neural networks in the brain promote higher executive functioning, like the ability to strategize, retain and recall information, regulate behavior, solve complex problems, and better respond to changing demands. After learning about the structural changes of music on the brain in relation to the functional ones, I'd like to talk about the benefits of learning a musical instrument for children. Just as reading and math are standard practice upon entering primary school, music should be too. Students need to identify notes, concentrate on reading music, and convert the note into the motion of sound. Reading music is processed in the same area of the brain that language is, thus improving reading and comprehension skills in literature. By understanding rhythm, beats, and scales, children learn how to create fractions, divide, and recognize patterns that improve math skills. Music stimulates creativity because no matter how much instruction we teachers put, the student must inject a part of their personality to make the piece come to life. Music also encourages patience and goal setting. Playing a musical instrument requires daily practice. This helps children learn that the more effort you put into something, the better the outcome. And they must set a short-term goal to learn a line or a phrase a week in order to meet the long-term goal of playing the whole piece. Adding on to that, devoting time to practice requires discipline. Setting aside practice time encourages time management by helping children organize their daily activities. With performance opportunities, whether it be for their parents, teachers, or other groups of students, children are able to express themselves where words fail, and playing publicly helps the child feel confident with their music skills. Music also improves social skills by affording children the opportunity to work with kids of diverse backgrounds, to build relationships, and to work on their teamwork skills. When I give my students a new piece, we talk about the composer, the era it's from, what the culture was like, and what genre the piece is. This introduces the child to history that isn't typically taught, and out of curiosity, they often do their own research too. In the same manner, I'd like to share with you a few ways to get your child involved in music. For babies, add music to their bedtime routine. Introduce them to a variety of music and rhythms. Interact with and watch their reactions to different sounds. Toddlers visibly show their love for music. You'll see just how happy they get when listening to their favorite tunes. Listening and creating music with your toddler can help build routine habits. It exercises their motor skills, builds a stronger bond between you and your child, helps with vocabulary and sensory development, enhances literacy, and teaches empathy. Incorporate movement and dance. Bring out some cheap instruments, add some bells for a rhythmic jingle, and make it consistent with routine. For kids who are old enough to play a musical instrument, you can visit your local music shops and find bulletin boards with various teachers for so many different instruments. You could also contact myself and I'd be able to direct you to different teachers depending on the instrument. Allow your child to have a say in what instrument they choose. Keep them inspired by taking them to concerts. Plan a practice and lesson schedule that both you and the child can commit to. And finally, find a music teacher who can keep the learning fun. As we come to a close, I hope I was able to shed light on the beauty of music, not as we know it, but for the potential it has to be life-changing. Through active and creative engagement, learning to play a musical instrument helps our children with literacy comprehension and mathematical abilities, introduces them to history and self-expression, builds their social skills and confidence, and develops patience, time management, dedication, and responsibility. Learning to play a musical instrument, especially at a young age, heightens connectivity between neural networks, magnifies our audio, visual, and motor abilities, and physically enlarges the brain as a whole. We are all always in a position to better the life of somebody else. Today, it is to provide somebody with the gift of music. If it is a friend, lover, or acquaintance, inspire them to bring their instruments out from the closet. If it is our elderly, let them sing. If it is you, play the music. But above all, encourage the children in your life, the creators of tomorrow, to learn to play a musical instrument.